Howdy, New Relic contingent.
Hey Tyler, how's it going?
Pretty good. Missed you guys on the call yesterday.
Yeah, we had a like an all team meeting that took us away from that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And when I say meeting, is actually we were volunteering. We were doing charitable work yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? New Relic service thing?
It was, but it was specifically for our Java group.
Cool. What'd you guys do?
We went to a local charity and built furniture.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's the community warehouse. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Portland, but they're a charity that helps people that just received housing assistance to get furniture.
Cool.
Yep.
Good morning.
Hey, John.
Morning, Tyler. Or afternoon. I don't know what time is it where you are.
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
What are you doing in San Diego?
Well, versus what? Saipan?
Yeah, versus Saipan.
Well, when I was in Saipan last year, typhoon came and wiped out the island, and so the place I was staying didn't have a full roof, so it was time for us to go.
I see. All right. Well, that would explain that. Sorry to hear that, though.
It's all good. Hey, Ted.
Hey, how's it going? Okay, just missed the update.
Love the hair as always.
Copy, paste.
Like you're trying to start a fashion statement at this point, right?
I just don't comb it.
Oh, believe me, I know.
I'm too productive to pay attention to my hair.
Don't worry, John doesn't comb his either.
That's true. I don't even comb my beard. Probably should do that.
Oh,
You've shaved a lot of it off since last time I saw you.
Yeah, I usually would shave it up mostly off before going on spring vacation, just because it would be someplace hot, and kind of just stuck this time.
I'm not trying to compete with the other John.
The other John Highland, no way.
Yeah,
No way.
I guess Jason has a pretty epic beard too.
Yeah, it's just so dark in this room, you can't really see me.
It makes it look huge.
we can.
Yeah, if I just tilt back, it gets real big.
There you go.
Morning, Carlos.
Hey, morning guys.
Hey, Carlos.
Hey. I guess we are still missing Bogdan. Yeah.
Speak of the devil.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Bogdan. What time is it for you, Carlos?
5 p.m.
Okay.
Not that bad.
No, not that bad, yeah.
I think everyone else here is Pacific time, so you're the only good afternoon one.
Yeah, but Pavel has the same time, but he hasn't been attending for the last weeks. But yeah, he used to be the other guy in my time zone.
Yeah.
Okay, should we start with the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so the first item is the name tracer.
Yeah, so I think this PR has been open for a while. I think it's all the comments have been addressed, issues have been created. So if there's anything else holding it up, let me know. But otherwise, we should probably get it merged.
Okay, I will take a look today. Disclaimer: I had a memory corruption inside Google Library for C++, so I had to be away for 2-3 days. That was the problem. that I faced. So
Sounds fun.
not at all.
At least it wasn't a memory corruption on your brain or something, or your computer or something like that.
Uh, it was on Spanner, so better.
Oh. Yeah, I
At least
also,
you switched to Rust. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that.
yeah, sorry. I just want to say that yeah, I went through that PR. It looks fine, but I need to double check because I only took a quick look at the actual specification changes. So I need to go through that. But they will promise to do that today as well.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, so I don't think there are more comments here. We just need to, Carlos, we just need to review that and merge it.
Yep.
Okay. Label as alpha v02 the snapshot. Is that? Go ahead.
No, yeah, it was me who put that note.
And what is missing?
I mean, like, if we want to allow users to know that this is like BO2 or something like that, then we can probably just need to do something when we publish the snapshots. So yeah, I mean, I can do that if you guys think we need to do something.
Is there, what would we say how would we describe the change between 0.1 and 0.2? Is there any, I mean, obviously there's been lots of stuff that's changed during 0.1. Do we have a succinct description of what we would be quote unquote releasing with 0.2?
That's a good thing. I think this is coming back to one thing that we need probably to keep a change log or something like this, because it's very hard right now from my mind to come up with all the changes that we did. But I think it's reasonable to say that we should keep a change log.
Yep.
Quick question. I guess I missed it. Why are we changing the version from 1 to 2?
To be in sync with the specs.
Okay.
I mean, we still release snapshots, so we don't care too much. And I think while we are on the version 0, semantic version 0, we can increase the minor number as much as we want.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I just wasn't sure if I was just trying to understand the logic there. Do we actually so everything in the version 2 spec, are we up to date on all of that?
Not yet. I will try to summarize what's missing. So the name tracer is missing. There is another thing to move the sampler out of the API that I'm working on. The other thing that I know is some of the metrics changes that Josh submitted. I mean, Josh and Sergey submitted yesterday or 2 days ago. Probably these are the major ones that I know.
On a related note, Austin and I are adding some code to the website on the project status page to pull the latest release from each SIG, so that there's just a handy reference for people looking on the website. So when you all are ready, if you wouldn't mind making a GitHub release. I know that's probably an extra step for Java since you guys don't actually use them, but it would be a helpful way to kind of track things on the website automatically.
By the way, is it anywhere documented how to do this? Because I mean, personally, I would prefer to do a branch release and then tag the branch release just as a normal thing to do for versions. But sometimes I saw, for example, a lot of Go code that they just tag on the master. What exactly is the process that we want to follow? Is that something that we should document somewhere?
That is a good question. It's not clear to me how much every language has to do all of that exactly the same. But reflexively, I feel like it would be nice if we had some standard posted somewhere.
Yeah, I think the branch release is kind of helpful for every language because it means that you can patch and you can do patch releases after that by cherry picking different bug fixes or different things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
my personal preference would be around like master being the main point of release, where if you do need to do a patch release, you can always just branch off of a tag and release off of that.
Yeah, I'm
That's
plus
yeah,
one.
More
I'm
of a
plus one
focus
for
on
that.
making sure that the main code changes are on master, and because otherwise it becomes much easier to forget to put something back on master after you've done a release.
so we, at least in OpenCensus, what we did, we created a release branch. On that release branch, we were allowed to only submit changes that are like updating versions or something like this. Because in Java, you have to do like 2 commits, one for removing the dash snapshot from the version, one to at least that was the case for us. And then all the other commits were on master. And if we ever want, we just allowed to cherry pick from master. But yeah, I see your point. We can do both ways.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to have a long-lived branches for each of the releases, is what I'm trying to say.
I see.
The branch can be temporary just for the purpose of doing the patch release. I do like having the tag actually on the master commit, because then when you're looking at the history, you can see exactly where the release tags are at.
I see the point. But if you do a patch release, you then you have to keep the branch, correct?
No, you can delete the branch and just if you need to do another patch release, you just create a new branch off of the previous patch release tag.
But the tag, if you delete a branch, where is the tag living?
The tag still exists within Git.
Oh, the tag still exists, even the branch. Okay, I see. I didn't know that. That maybe we should discuss this.
I think what you're thinking about is more like a legacy of like perforce or a subversion or something like that.
Mhm.
Could be. I'm using perforce a lot at work, so I may be biased with that.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Google uses perforce? Just kidding.
Actually, it uses GeForce.
Yes.
Yes, it's a different perforce. Anyway, good. So I think Ted, can you file an issue on the specs to document these?
Around branch patterns?
Yes.
One of the things that I was curious about, maybe someone could give me a quick summary. I've had a really hard time following. What is the purpose of the name tracer?
Oh, I can help with that. So there are multiple reasons why you want to have it, but conceptually, what it does is the following. Inside an application, you have a bunch of libraries. So you want for every library or for every component inside your application to have a different name that describes that component. So imagine, for example, you are using gRPC, you want to have a kind of a tag for all the spans that are generated by gRPC to say that they are belonging to gRPC component. And what you can do with this is the following. For metrics, is super useful because metrics in general needs, for example, to have unique names for your application, and having this namespace, I can call it like a namespace, where then allows you inside to have similar names in different components. And one of the clear example will be somebody calling a metric latency, and without having this name tracer is going to be a conflict with other metric name latency. Does it make sense?
That does make sense. I guess so. The way so the way that I think Lightstep and Datadog have kind of remedied that on the open tracing side was traditionally just like setting the service name on the span on creation. But maybe that doesn't work as well for like the metric situation. So I do see how the current design would be beneficial in that regard. So the next question I have with regards to that though is like, so when you're creating the tracer and registering it, do you have to then create a separate named tracer for each integration type, or is there like a factory that can just be set globally?
So there is a factory, a global factory in general in Java, and from that factory, every component gets its own name tracer.
And also name metrics.
Yeah, name meter.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other advantage are things like you can push some implementation because of the name tracer and not having it as an attribute, can push different configs to different components. Things like can disable all the span, can disable gRPC to create new spans. Even though you have the plugin, for example, you can disable only that specific part of the code. Does it make sense? And
yeah.
This is something that Dynatrace wanted very badly for whatever reasons.
I think we're going to have to iterate on it to achieve some of those goals, though. Because I think the name inversion probably isn't sufficient to do the kind of targeting people might be interested in.
Yes, so we should discuss about what we will do, but for the moment, I think it's a good starting point, and we will benefit at least by having kind of a way to locate inside my application where this span comes from and so on.
Yeah.
So the reason I was asking is I was just trying to understand from the context of like the auto instrumentation project, how this would tie in from like a central point. My assumption would be that we would just register a factory from the auto instrumentation's point of view.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
And every plugin or every instrumented library will create its own name thing.
Got it.
From that factory that you registered. So all tracer will have a common parent, the factory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it possible to register a separate factory for like metrics versus for traces?
Yes, there are two different factories.
Okay, cool.
Because we want, for example, we want to have even different implementations for this.
Got it.
Okay. The next item is probably Ted.
Yeah, this is me. We have like a sort of high-reaching goal in the 0.3 version of the spec to see if we can fully separate out context propagation and baggage into their own separate subsystems. For baggage, it's just because propagating user data and propagating observability data, it gets confusing if you're doing it kind of mushed together. People have always been uncomfortable with that. And if we can separate out context propagation fully from tracing, then it makes it reusable between both observability and baggage, and then potentially other systems. And so this has been, I think, a long-standing goal for people who've been working in this space to see if we can pull this off. However, I think just from writing the spec in English, I can tell that as soon as we start working on implementations, a whole bunch of edge cases and concerns are going to pop up with a change like this. In particular, name tracers, I think, are going to make this a little more complicated. And right now, context switching and context management is tied pretty tightly to span management. So I see those as two areas where I would really prefer to see us actually trying to like spike code and wrap our heads around some of this stuff, because otherwise I'm afraid we're going to merge something into the spec and then be like, wait, what does this mean? So I'm trying to get sort of a working group, cross-language working group together to kind of hash some of these issues out. I think it would be great to get someone from Java involved, because I think, you know, Java makes everything complicated, and I expect these issues will probably be trickiest in Java. So
what exactly are you looking for?
So what I'm looking for is like someone to try to prototype this, you know, enough that we actually can sort of sort out where the problem areas are going to be. Mm-hmm. And so that when we actually merge the spec in, it sort of addresses all of this stuff. This is partially some feedback from name tracers came from this, where that got merged into the spec, and now people are trying to implement it, and there's like a bunch of questions are coming up. And I'm concerned, I just don't want to wait to address those questions later. It would be great.
Yeah, and by the way, I had started taking a look at that, but it was before the name tracers PR came. So yeah, if nobody jumps this, I can continue because I already have all the background.
That's great. Yeah. Just my experience, especially stuff around like context switching and context management, we've always struggled to like really get that right in an English spec. You just got to write code in order to really wrap your head around what the implications are. And I don't want the project to get delayed. Also, if it turns out this is just going to be a fucking mess, I would like to abort before we like put it into the spec. But I would prefer us to actually pull off this like high-reaching goal. I think, you know, it would really benefit the ecosystem if we could separate these things out. So I created a Gitter room. This seemed to work for the metrics discussion. So there's a Gitter room to kind of discuss this. And yeah, I'm just going around asking people if they're interested to try their hand at it.
But very nice. But this raises another question for me. How do we know about all these Gitter rooms?
How do we know about, sorry, what?
All the Gitter rooms that are created like this.
So there's actually a button you can push. There's like a globe button in Gitter, and that will show you all of the rooms. But yeah, I think room discoverability is like a problem in Gitter.
Yes.
So that's why I'm going around just trying to wave my hands at all the different SIGs so that people are aware that this is coming. Cool. So yeah, I would ask people, you know, have a read of that spec proposal. It's a very high level proposal. And then if you're interested in working on it, you know, join the room, and we got people from Python and Node.js and stuff in there right now.
Do we have an idea on how this will impact our migration with regards to gRPC context?
Well, that's exactly it. If we can pull this off, it makes it a lot easier potentially to share some kind of context object with gRPC and other projects, and maybe even pull it out of OpenTelemetry as this sort of shared lower layer, right? That's a thing that's come up where we're like, ew, we don't want to use gRPC's context. That's weird. I can imagine other people kind of saying the same thing. Like, why am I like piggybacking my like security concerns or network switching propagation stuff on top of this observability system?
But Ted, I don't think you resolve the gRPC thing, because even in your proposal you'll need an in-process thing, which is exactly where we use the gRPC context object.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'll resolve this. You still need an in-process mechanism to propagate all of these things. So because of that, we choose to not implement our own and use that, but it's not gonna, unless we re-implement the same thing.
I think the issue is if we could get this fully separated, at least in our own code base, it'll be easier to just have conversation with gRPC and other people about maybe a neutral place to put that stuff, right? They didn't want to move it into open telemetry, and I feel like we don't have our story straight enough that we wanted to encourage them to make some big change on their end. So I prefer us to have some cleanly architected thing before we try to like convince gRPC to, you know, move stuff to some shared repo somewhere.
By the way, they're not necessarily interested in, I don't know how the PR that you mentioned involved, but based on the latest discussion that we had, that I know, we did not change too much on the gRPC. We just add a new layer on top of gRPC that is related to on-the-wire propagation, and that's it. So anyway.
Yeah, we're not mandating anything on that front. If we end up just continuing to camp on gRPC, like I personally don't care that much, because I don't see them as pulling the rug out from under us or doing something crazy.
Did we make any progress on moving the gRPC dependency out of the API yet?
What gRPC dependency?
I thought that the gRPC was a strong dependency in the OpenTelemetry API.
So
gRPC context. Allow me to clarify.
Okay, that small artifact, yes, is still a strong dependency in the artifact.
Okay, we had talked about it in a previous meeting that you were going to look at to see if we could abstract that out into the SDK.
We cannot abstract everything out unless we do our own abstraction.
Mm-hmm.
So we still need an abstraction, because from the API standpoint, you still need, for example, if you are implementing, let's say, executor or something like that, you need to wrap the entire context with all the items there. So you need to have a notion of a context that includes multiple key values. And if that's not gRPC, then we need to come up with our own.
Okay. We might want to consider just having an interface that abstracts that out one layer. I don't know. I can't continue discussing this. I actually have to jump off onto another meeting here shortly. So we can take that up as a future discussion point.
Yeah, I think our focus is now to deliver the features for 0.2, but then in 0.3, when context comes, we can discuss that as well.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, on the agenda, we do have some discussions about timestamp. I put down a PR that just removes our own custom definition of timestamp, and Java has a lack in Java 7. It's lacking a good timestamp definition. In Java 8, they added instant, but also instant is an extra allocation. So we decided to go with just nanoseconds from epoch, which will guarantee us until 2250 or something like that. And I said that we are good. I don't think we'll survive until that point. So I'm fine with making this compromise. If everyone has an argument against this, let me know.
And the motivation around that was just to remove the allocation cost of the timestamp object?
So there are two motivations. If we do have a timestamp object that we had, we need to provide a lot of helpers, like from nanos, from millis, and a bunch of other things in order to make it correct. And we already saw some bad usages by doing divisions and stuff. I think we should use whole I mean, essentially we have to copy the whole Java instance if we want to have our own timestamp.
Okay.
To do the correct math of not overflowing and so on.
And it probably would not make sense to have like a dual API of one that takes instant and one that takes nano. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I don't think that would be possible.
Unless we drop Java 7 support and we go with Java 8.
Yeah, we could do that.
I would be in favor of that, but I thought that was a hard requirement from Google.
Yes, we do have a hard requirement from Google, and this comes from the fact that we want to be directly into gRPC, by having them, because we use internally gRPC and we want to not have users to install plugins or anything. And because of that, gRPC has a requirement to be Java 7. So that's why we are Java 7. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a little sad, but it's fine.
And also the instant comes with an extra allocation, but yeah, I agree that will not be maybe the main concern. Java is crazy anyway with the allocations.
Yeah. I have to jump off, so I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Good chat. Bye.
Okay, I think we addressed all the agenda items. Anything else?
Yeah, I guess that on a related note, once this is merged, I will add probably an overload to specify a timestamp for adding events, which we are missing.
Yeah, that's another thing that we are missing.
Yeah, I will do that after you merge this PR later today or tomorrow or something like that.
Okay. I think we are good. We're out of time. Any other topic that we need to discuss?
I'm fine for now.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining.
Yep.
See you next time.
Have a good week.
All right.
See you guys.
Take care.
Ciao.
Thank you.